The Bechdel Test in the MCU by Carolyn Grimm. The Bechdel Test is a method for evaluating the portrayal of women in fiction. It was created by Alison Bechdel in 1985. The test has only 3 requirements. Read the comic and see. Well, I don't know. I have this rule. See, I only go to a movie if it satisfies 3 basic requirements. 1, has to have at least 2 women in it. 2, talk to each other about who talk to each other. And 3, talk to each other besides something about a man. Pretty strict, but a good idea. No kidding. Last movie I was able to see was Alien. Sounds easy, right? All a movie needs to pass is 2 women who talk to each other about anything except for a man. This is pretty basic. Any film can accomplish this, but do they? I decided to first turn my investigation towards the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The MCU has grown to be one of the highest grossing and most successful film franchises of all time. It just seemed natural to start our Is the Movie Sexist series, especially since comic book movies have been traditionally very male. But it's the 21st century, right? Let's see how these films stack up. Iron Man series. 2 out of the 3 films pass. In the first film, Pepper and the journalist had a conversation, but it was about Tony. In the second movie, Natasha and Pepper talk briefly about business. In the third, Pepper and Maya briefly talk about her work. Thor series. 2 of the 3 films pass. In the first, Jane and Darcy talk about physics for a bit, but mostly they talk about Thor. In the Dark World, there are 4 named female characters: Jane, Darcy, Frida, Sif. Jane and Frida talk about science together. In Ragnarok, there are 2 named female characters in the movie, Hela and Valkyrie. But you guessed it, they don't talk to each other. Captain America series. 1 out of 3 films pass. In the original, there is only 1 named female character, Peggy Carter. In Winter Soldier, Hill and Natasha talk about the bullet that killed Fury. Not sure this should count, but it does. In Civil War, Natasha and Wanda don't talk to each other throughout the movie. There is also Aunt May, but she only talks to Tony and Peter. The Avengers. 1 out of 3 films pass. In the original, there are 3 named female characters, though Maria Hill is only known as Agent Hill. They never talk to each other, though. Age of Ultron is a doubtful pass. Natasha does have a conversation with Madam B at the Red Center in a flashback scene, but the Madam was only named in the credits, so it doesn't count. Natasha does have a brief conversation with Laura about the sex of her baby, so technically it passes, only just. In Infinity War, there are several named female characters in this movie, and surprisingly, they don't talk to each other. Results. Out of the 20 movies we looked at, just 10 of them passed the Bechdel test. The Bechdel test only requires a bare minimum. Just named female characters talking about something other than a man. That's it. And still, half of these movies don't even have that. Some of them, like both Guardians of the Galaxy films and Age of Ultron, barely even pass. In the movies that pass, the women usually only have a single brief conversation. Or if they do talk to each other, it's mostly about men. I'm not saying that the movies that fail this test are sexist, nor am I saying that the movies that pass it are feminist. Captain America, the First Avenger, has an awesome, strong female character in Peggy Carter, and still, it doesn't pass. Same with Ragnarok, which has 2 strong female characters, but the movie doesn't pass. While the Bechdel test is not nearly enough to determine if the movie is feminist, evaluating movies this way is a first step in evaluating often unnoticed sexism in films. Women deserve to see movies with female characters in them. In this day and age, how are there still movies which do not pass these minimal requirements?